Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Gemma with WGC. Today we're going to go through a gentle yoga flow, working on opening the hips. So one of the most common concerns and problems that I hear from my students are that their hips are tight and they don't have much flexibility around the hips. So we're going to focus today's flow on opening the hips and working with the inner and the outer hips. So really getting into all of the muscles around the hip joints. So we're going to start in a seated position. So find a comfortable seated position. Now you might be sitting cross-legged like me. You might prefer to sit on your heels, or maybe just have the legs out straight if that's more comfortable for you. Whichever way you're sitting, make sure that your spine is straight. You can roll the shoulders up and down away from the ears, and then close the eyes with the hands resting on the knees. And we'll take these first few minutes of the practice to ground and center ourselves, connect to our breathing. So just start to notice your natural breath here. Becoming aware of the movement of your chest and your belly as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, the rising of the chest on the inhale, the falling of the chest on the exhale, the expanding of the belly on the inhale, and the contracting of the belly on the exhale. Feeling the contact of your sitting bones rooting into the mat, into the ground. The contact of your hands resting on your knees. Maybe you feel a slight breeze or the air against your skin. Just becoming aware of the sensation of your body in space. The space that you're taking up in the room that you're in. And keeping your awareness on your physical body, just start to scan through your body. You can start from the top of the head and just draw your awareness down. As you're drawing your awareness down, just noticing any parts of the body that are feeling tight, stiff, sore. And then just noticing how you're feeling mentally and emotionally today. Observing your mind and the activity in the mind. If the mind is feeling busy. And the type of thoughts that you're thinking. Positive thoughts, negative thoughts, repetitive thoughts. Observe any emotions that may be present in your body. Any worry, anxiety, stress, frustration. And how is this emotion manifesting in your physical body? Is it creating tightness, stiffness, discomfort? And bringing the hands together to heart center. And we're going to open the practice by chanting 3 Oms together. So you can either join in or you can just listen to and enjoy the vibrations of the sound. So releasing your current breath completely. Taking a deep inhale through the nose to prepare. Releasing the hands. I'm going to start with some gentle movement of the spine, doing some seated versions of cat-cow. Bringing the arms to cactus arms, so your elbows are bent, palms are facing forwards. Now on your inhale, start to open the chest by drawing the elbows back, opening the heart center. Exhale, start to round through the spine as you draw the elbows to touch, bringing the chin to the chest. Inhale, open back up, arching the back, maybe lifting the head to open the chin and the throat. Exhale, elbows come to touch. Taking one more of these, inhale to open up. And exhale. And releasing the hands either side of you. We'll start with some side stretches here to get into the sides of the body. So on an inhale, reaching your right arm up. As you exhale, stretching over to that left side. Now we're going to start to move dynamically here. So as you inhale, bringing both arms up, releasing the right hand, exhale, stretching to the right side. Alternating between sides, inhale to reach up. Exhale to stretch. Continue in this movement. Start to find a flow with your breath here. And then inhale, bringing the arms back up. Interlace the fingers and then turn the palms away. So you're stretching through the shoulders, pushing the palms to the ceiling, to the sky. Exhale, soften the shoulders, but keep pushing up through the palms of the hands. Take another inhale. On your exhale, release the hands and then twist into the right side, bringing your right fingertips behind you, left fingertips to the outside of the knee. Inhale to find length in the spine, sitting tall. Exhale, going deeper, softening into that twist. Bring the gaze to the back shoulder. Hold for one more breath. Inhale, reach the arms back up to center, turning back to the front of the mat. Clasp the hands once more. Exhale, twisting to the left this time, left fingertips behind. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, softening into that twist, going deeper. One more breath. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way back up. And then exhale, fold forwards here. So just release the hands in front of you, tilting the hips forward, but make sure that your hips stay in contact with the mat so they're not lifting up. Maybe you release the forearms to the mat, and then just let your head relax here. Take 3 breaths here in this gentle forward fold. And then come up halfway, looking forwards. And then just rock yourself forward onto your knees, bring the feet behind so you transition into a tabletop position on all fours. So bringing the shoulders to stack over your wrists, hips to stack over the knees. And we'll take just some free movement here. So you might want to do those cat-cow movements that we did seated. Or you might want to do some circles with the hips. Circling the hips all the way around, particularly if the hips are feeling tight. We'll start to loosen the hip joints up. So whatever movement feels good for your body, whichever way you're moving, stay connected to the breath and allow the breath to guide the movement. Take 10 more seconds here. And make your way back to your tabletop position. Now tucking your toes under, lifting the hips up to the sky for your downward facing dog. So to pedal out the legs here, bend one knee, stretch through the other leg. And then switch, walking out the dog, opening the hamstrings and the calves. Now finding some stillness here, feel free to keep a slight bend in the knees. You want to make sure that your spine is straight, so if you feel like your back is rounding, just bend the knees some more. Start to sink the heart center towards your thighs. Keep the hands rooted firmly into the mat, fingers are spread. 3 more breaths here. On your next inhale, reach your right leg up to the sky for a 3-legged dog. Keep your hips facing down, point through those right toes. Exhale, bend the knee, draw the knee forward and step the foot in between the hands, dropping your back knee to our first hip stretch, kneeling lunge. Make sure that the knee is stacked over the ankle. On an inhale, reach the arms up, hips stay forward, sinking the hips down, but finding stability here. So feel free to tuck your back toes under for support. And we're going to pulse really gently here, up and down. So on an inhale, just rising slightly up. As you exhale, sinking down a little bit more. So really subtle movements. On your next exhale, release the hands to the mat and start to draw your hips back as you straighten through that front leg for a half split. So you're bringing your hips towards that back heel, and then you can flex your right toes towards you. Fold over that right leg as much as feels good in your body. You're aiming to feel a stretch down the back of that right leg. One more breath here. And then rebend the knee. Release the hands. Step back to your downward dog. Inhale to reach your left leg up to your three-legged dog here. Pointing the toes up to the sky. Exhale, draw the knee forward and plant the foot in between the hands for kneeling lunge on this side. So draw up in the back knee, but keep the back toes under. Inhale as you reach the arms up. Exhale to sink the hips. Finding that slight pulsating movement here. And then release the fingertips to the mat. With your back toes staying tucked under, start to draw the hips back as you straighten through your left leg. Then lift the left toes, flexing the toes to the face. Folding over that left leg on an exhale. Hold in here. So as well as working a lot with the hips today, we're going to work with the hamstrings also. Usually if our hips are feeling tight, one of the common reasons is because our hamstrings are tight, and that's preventing their flexibility in our hips. So we're going to work with all of the muscles in the legs and the hips. Slowly rebend that left knee. Plant the hands, lift your back knee, stepping back to downward facing dog. Okay, from here, inhale, reach your right leg up again to three-legged dog. Then as you exhale, release the leg, but step it slightly in front of your left foot. So we're gonna walk this way. Inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, release it in front of the right foot. So we're walking towards the hands, but at the same time, we're stretching through the hamstrings and opening the hips as we arrive there. So you may find that you walk about halfway forward, and then you just need to tiptoe the feet in for the last bit. Or you might be able to raise the legs in this way all the way until you reach your hands. Once you arrive at the top of the mat, keep a slight bend in the knees and just let your arms hang and let your head be heavy. And relaxing your jaw, your temples, your eyes. Help to feel the sensation of the feet pressing into the mat. Keeping the knees slightly bent. Start to roll up through the spine, keeping the arms by the side, keeping your head down until we're at the very end. Rolling up nice and slow until you arrive in your Tadasana. Finding a stable position here, either have the feet together or hip width apart. Relax the arms by the sides, relax the shoulders, close the eyes. Taking 3 breaths here, breathing in and out through the nose. I'm going to go through 2 rounds of the classical Sun Salutation with some variations today. On your inhale, reaching your arms up, Adho Hastasana, upward, hands, palms come to touch. Open the chest, bring your gaze to your thumbs. Exhale, keeping your gaze on your thumbs as you come all the way down to Uttanasana, forward fold. Release the hands, step back on an inhale with your right foot, kneel and lunge, open the chest, gaze forwards. Exhale here. Inhale, reach the arms up. Palms come to touch, maybe open the chest for a gentle back bend if it feels good. Engage the core slightly here to protect the lower back. Exhale, release the hands. Lift your back knee and step to a plank. Take an inhale in your plank. Exhale, drop the knees, bend the elbows to lower the chin and the chest. Inhale, release the hips and scoop the chest up to a cobra. Staying low for the first one. Hug the elbows in, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck the toes, bring your hips back and up, downward facing dog. Take one breath here. Inhale, step your right foot forward in between the hands. Exhale, step the left foot in, forward fold. Inhale, rise tall, reach the arms up and over. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reaching up, open the chest, gentle back bend here. Exhale to fold, following the thumbs as you come down. Inhale, left foot back, kneeling lunge on this side. Drop the back knee, exhale here. Inhale as you scoop the arms up, palms to touch, finding your back bend. Exhale to release. Lift your back knee, step to your plank. Take an inhale. Exhale, drop the knees, bend the elbows, lower the chin and the chest. Release the hips, inhale to cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, bring the hips back and up, downward facing dog. One breath here. Inhale, left foot forward in between the hands, gaze forward, chest is open. Exhale, step your right foot in, forward fold. Inhale as you rise, come all the way back up, Tadasana. Exhale, draw the palms to heart center. Second round, inhale, reaching up, gaze to your thumbs. Exhale to fold, tilting forward from the hips. Inhale to step the right foot back, kneeling lunge, chest is open. Exhale here. Inhale, scooping the arms all the way up, palms to touch. Maybe going a little deeper in this back bend now if it feels good. Exhale to release. Lift your back knee, step back to plank. Inhale. Exhale, drop the knees, chin, chest. Inhale, come to cobra, or maybe you're going to come to an upward dog by extending the arms and lifting the knees off the mat so you're pressing the tops of the feet down. Chest is forward, shoulders drawing back. Exhale, tuck the toes or roll over the toes. Come back to downward facing dog. Take one breath here. Inhale, right foot forward, chest is open. Exhale, left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale to rise. Moving with your breath. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Second side. Inhale, reaching the arms up, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, fold. Inhale as left foot steps back. Finding kneeling lunge here. Exhale. Inhale as you scoop the arms up, palms to touch. Deepening that back bend here. Keep your hips sinking down. Exhale to release the hands. Lift your back knee, step back to plank, taking your flow. Inhale to hold your plank. Exhale to drop the knees, chin and chest. Inhale, finding cobra or upward dog, your choice. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. One breath. Inhale, left foot forward, kneeling lunge. Exhale, right foot follows, forward fold. Inhale, growing tall. Palms to touch overhead. Exhale, draw the hands through the midline and then release the hands by the sides. And we're going to hold here in Tadasana for 3 breaths. Noticing any sensations in your body after those sun salutations, how we started to warm up the body. Notice any changes in your breath. On your next inhale, reaching the arms up through the sides, bringing the palms to touch overhead. Exhale to fold forwards, going all the way down. Inhale, find a halfway lift here, so you're straightening your legs and your back with the fingertips either touching the mat or your shins to gaze forwards. Exhale, rebend the knees, plant the hands and step or maybe hop back to a plank, your choice. Hold for an inhale and exhale, either drop the knees, chin, chest like we've previously been doing, or take a chaturanga by bending the elbows, lowering the body halfway, press into the hands on the inhale, finding your back bend, roll over the toes for your downward facing dog on the exhale. On your inhale, reaching your right leg up to that three-legged dog. This time as you exhale, we're gonna open that right hip. So bend the knee, bringing the foot towards the buttocks, then draw that right knee up to the sky. Maybe you're gonna bring your gaze to your right armpit. Keep rooting that right hand down. One more breath here. Inhale, reach the right leg back up, turn the hips to face the mat. Exhale, bend the knee, draw the knee forward, planting the foot in between the hands. Keeping your back heel off the mat. Rise up on an inhale to a high lunge here. Exhale, sink in the hips. Just checking that the knee isn't coming past the ankle. And we're gonna return to that pulsating movement here. So on the inhale, rising slightly up. On the exhale, sinking lower. Keep your gaze fixed on one point in front of you. Keep the fingertips reaching up, upper arms close to the ears, so the arms are working, the arms are engaged. On your next exhale, release the hands and bring the hands behind you, clasping the hands. On an inhale, open the chest, finding a back bend. Keep your legs engaged. Your front knee stays bent, looking up to the sky. And exhale, start to tilt forward from your hips. So we're coming into humble warrior. Now you have the option to come halfway, where you'll stay where your torso is parallel to the mat. If you want to go deeper, take an inhale here, then on the exhale, you can start to fold to the inside of that right knee. As you're coming deeper, your clasped hands reaching up and over as the crown of your head starts to draw down towards the mat. Find stillness here, hold for 3 breaths. Now make sure that your back leg is still active, drawing the heel down towards the mat to engage the leg and bring some weight into that back leg. One more breath here. Inhale, release the hands and scoop the arms up, high lunge. On the exhale, opening the hips out to the left, turn your back foot to 90 degrees, reach the arms to shoulder width, finding your warrior 2. Sink in the hips. You might want to widen your stance here, particularly if your legs are long. Again, checking that the knee is stacked over that front ankle. Bringing your gaze to your right fingertips, looking to the front of your mat. And we'll do some dynamic movement here. So on the inhale, straighten your front leg, bring the palms to touch overhead. As you exhale, rebend the knee and then draw in a circle with your hands so your hands come to touch. Again, continuing that movement, inhale, reaching up, straighten the leg. Exhale, rebend the knee, draw in that circle in front of you, like you're drawing a sun in front of you. Finding that flow with your breath here. And on your next exhale, returning back to warrior two, fixing your gaze to your front fingertips. Inhale, flip in the front palm, reach the arm up and over to your reverse warrior. Chest is open to the sky, gaze into your top arm. Keep reaching the fingertips behind you. Keep your front knee bent. Exhale, keep the legs exactly where they are. Bringing your right forearm to your front thigh. Then reach your left arm up and over for side angle pose. Keep the chest open. Inhale, come all the way back to reverse warrior. So keep that flow with the breath. Exhale, coming back to side angle. One more time. Inhale, flow into reverse warrior. Exhaling to side angle. But we're going to hold for 5 breaths. So you may stay here with the forearm on the thigh. Maybe you want to bring the fingertips to the mat or to a block if you're using one. Or if you're working on a bind, you can start to reach that left arm around the back. And then maybe threading that right arm underneath that leg. See if you can take hold. And just staying here for 3 more breaths. If you're in the bind, you can start to extend that front leg slightly and then rebend it. We're really getting into that right hip there deeply. If you're in any other variation, just hold in 1 more breath. Okay, inhale, come all the way back up. Warrior two. Exhale, straighten your front leg. Inhale, extending forward here. With your front fingertips as far forward as you can. Exhale, release the hand either to the leg or fingertips come to a block or the mat. Gazing up to your front fingertips for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Draw the top shoulder slightly back so your chest is open here. 2 more breaths. Putting the strength in your legs. Okay, from here, releasing your top hand to your hip, your left hip. Bend your front knee. Now step the back foot slightly in and bring your right hand about 1 foot or 2 in front of your front foot. We're going to play a bit with balance here, coming into Halfmoon Pose. So you might just play with floating the back leg off the mat, up and down. You might be able to come into the full posture, lifting that back leg until it's parallel to the mat. So your hips are staying open to the side. And you can flex your floating toes to really engage that floating leg. Either keep the hand on the hip or maybe reach that left hand up to the sky. Keep the chest open to the side so that your chest and your hips stay towards the side. 2 more breaths here. If you like, you can add a quad stretch to this by bending the knee and then grabbing hold of the foot or the ankle, stretching through that left quad. Slowly release. Coming all the way back to warrior two. And then releasing the hands, windmilling the hands to the mat. From here, coming to your downward dog. Now taking 5 breaths here, or if you want to challenge yourself further, you can rock into a plank and take another flow. Completely up to you. And we'll come to meet in downward dog. Now taking a deep inhale here through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Releasing any fatigue on the exhale. Doing that 1 more time. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. On your next inhale, reach your left leg up to a 3-legged dog. Exhale to open that hip again. So bend the knee, foot comes to the hip. And you're stretching to the left side this time. Open the chest to the left, maybe gaze to the left armpit. Inhale, reach the leg back up, turn the hips to face the mat. Exhale, draw the knee forward and plant the foot in between the hands. Okay, finding your stability here. When you're ready, on an inhale, rise up to your high lunge on this side. Finding your balance and your stability. Start to find that pulsating movement here again. Moving with the breath. Keep the arms active. Exhale, release the hands behind, clasping the hands, preparing for humble warrior. Inhale, as you start to open the chest, lean back, keep your legs strong and stable. Exhale, either come halfway, so you're parallel to the mat and stay here, or go deeper, take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, fold into the inside of that left knee. Start to reach those clasped hands over, stretching through the shoulders as well as the hips here. Allow the crown of the head to draw down. 2 more breaths here. Inhale as you rise all the way back to high lunge with control. Exhale, turn the hips out to the side, turn your back foot to 90 degrees, finding your warrior 2 on this side. Reposition the feet if you need. Draw the belly button in so the core is engaged. Finding that movement again, drawing circles with the hands. Inhale, straighten the leg, palms come to touch overhead. Exhale, rebend the knee as you bring the arms down. Finding that flow again here. Feel free to close the eyes if you like. On your next exhale, return to warrior 2, bringing your gaze forward. Inhale, flip your front palm, reach up and over, find reverse warrior. Back hand comes to back leg, open the chest up to the sky. Exhale, front knee stays bent, find side angle pose, forearm comes to thigh, reaching your right arm up and over, gazing up to that top arm. Inhale, all the way back, reverse warrior. Exhaling, side angle. One more time. Inhale to reverse. And exhale, come into side angle, this time holding here for 5 breaths. So again, find the variation you're taking here, maybe the same as you did to the other side, either fingertips to the mat, maybe taking a half bind, wrapping the right arm around your lower back, reaching those fingertips to your left thigh. Maybe you're going to go for the full bind, threading that bottom arm through. And if you're here in the bind and you're actually hanging out in the bind easily, you can start to straighten and then rebend that front knee a little bit more. Otherwise, stay where you are for 3 more breaths. Finding a balance between effort and ease. Keeping the breath steady. Okay, on your next inhale, release the arms. Come all the way back, warrior 2. Exhale, straighten your front leg, Trikonasana triangle. Inhale, extending forwards. And exhale, releasing that hand either to the leg or the fingertips to the mat. Bring your gaze to your top arm, open that top shoulder. 3 breaths here in your triangle. Now transitioning into half moon balance, bringing the right hand first to the hip, step your back foot slightly in, shorten the distance, set up your left hand in front of that front foot, Now either just start maybe the first few times just to float the leg up and down a few times to get the balance. When you're feeling more steady, you can float the leg all the way up until it's parallel to the mat. Keep the hips facing the side, the chest facing the side. Flex your floating toes so the toes come towards your face. Maybe option to reach the right arm up. Option to go even further here for the quad stretch by bending the knee, taking hold of the foot. All just variations. Find the one that works for you today. And when you're ready, release the leg, slowly step back. Warrior 2. Windmill the hands to the mat. Step back to plank, inhale. Exhale, take a flow or push back to downward dog if you want to skip the flow, your choice. Once you come into downward dog, let's take another one of those open mouth exhales, releasing any fatigue. So inhaling through the nose, exhale through the mouth. On your inhale, lift the heels, gaze forward to the feet, bend the knees, either step, walk, or maybe hop to your halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, reaching the arms overhead. Exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Release the hands by the sides, Tadasana. Connecting back to your breathing here. Okay, from here you're going to step your right foot back and open your hips and both feet out to the right side. So you're turning completely to the right side. You can bring your heels slightly in and your toes slightly out. We're going to come into a goddess pose here. So you can start to sink the hips, bend the knees out to the side, sinking the hips down. And then bring the hands together to heart center. Now here, find a Lotus Mudra. So Lotus Mudra is with the thumb and the little finger touching and the other fingers are reaching out. Keeping this Lotus Mudra by your heart center. Keep sinking the hips. Now if you want to challenge yourself a bit more here, you can lift the heels coming onto your tiptoes. Playing with the balance of the weight there. 2 more breaths. Finding ease in this challenging posture. Release the heels if you're on your tiptoes. Just straighten through the legs. Release the hands to your hips. Now bring the heels behind the toes so your toes are forward for a wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, open the chest, leaning back slightly first of all. Exhale, tilt forward from your hips. Taking your time, coming all the way down to your wide-legged forward fold. Now option to release the hands to the mat underneath the face. And you can just hold here for a more passive forward fold. If you want to make this more of an active stretch, you can bring your hands behind your ankles. You can bend the elbows here, such as draw the crown of the head down further. If you want to go for the variation with the peace fingers underneath the big toes instead, you can take that one. Three more breaths here. Okay, releasing the hands to the mat. Come up halfway, gaze forwards. Now turn into the front of your mat, start to walk your hands towards the side as you pivot on your feet. So you're facing the front of the mat in a low lunge. From here, step in that foot to downward dog. From your downward dog, drop the knees, bring the knees to touch, bring the big toes to touch, and then fold over the thighs, bringing the hips to the heels, relax the forearms, relax the forehead, coming into child's pose. Relaxing the body completely here. Letting the hips settle back into their natural state. With every exhale, see if you can soften the body a little bit more. Releasing any tension around the hips, the legs. You can 3 more breaths here. Now slowly come up to a tabletop position. From your tabletop, draw your right knee forward so the knee comes behind the wrist. Coming into Pigeon Pose, so start to walk the right toes out to the side. And come onto your back toes and walk the back toes as far down as you can. Start to lower that right hip down though. If you have a cushion or a pillow close by, you can place it under that right hip to fill the gap. Bring the hands close to the body and just make sure that your hips are equal. So you don't want to be falling to one side. And taking an inhale here. On an exhale, keeping the equal level of the hips. Start to fold forward, walking the arms forward. You can release the forearms and then release the forehead, either to touch the mat, or you can bend the elbows out to the side and stack the hands and then release the forehead on the hands also. I'm going to take 10 breaths on each side here. Finding some stillness in the shape. Looking to find some ease in all of the effort of this stretch. So if you're feeling tension in that right hip, sending each exhale to the hip. Using your breath to soften and relax those muscles. Three more breaths here. Slowly start to lift your head. Start to walk the hands in towards you. Tuck your back toe under. Lifting your knee, and you're either going to come to a tabletop, a downward dog, or maybe a child's pose. So whichever pose feels like the best counter pose for you after pigeon. And you might hold here in stillness, or you might want to wiggle the hips, bend the knees a little. Okay, then when you're ready, drop back to a tabletop, and we'll take pigeon on the other side. So bringing the left knee forward this time, knee comes behind the wrist, and then walking the toes to the right side. Come onto your back toes, walking that back leg as far back as you can to lower the left hip. Again, use a cushion or a pillow if you need under that left hip. The hands close to the body. Make sure that your hips are equal before you lower down. Take an inhale and exhale. Coming down to your sleeping pigeon. Release the forearms, release the forehead. Finding stillness here for 10 breaths. Exhaling into the left hip joint. Three more breaths here. Slowly lifting the head, walking the hands in. Moving slowly to transition out of the posture, tuck the back toe under, lift the knee, finding that counter pose again here. Either stillness or gentle movements. And then when you're ready, drop down to the knees, come into sit onto your heels. And just take a few moments here, resting the hands on the knees. Okay, so we've worked a lot with the inner hips, and now we're going to bring a stretch to the outer hips, working more with the glutes. So bring the legs out in front of you, first of all, for Tadasana seated position. Now bend in your right knee, bring the foot in, and then you're going to bring the foot across. And you want to bring the knees so they're in line with each other. Now, your knee may be all the way up here. You might be able to bring the knees closer together. It doesn't matter so much as long as they're in one line. Now, you might stay here. So this is the half variation of cow face pose, Gomukhasana. You might stay here if this is already pretty intense. Otherwise, you can bend the bottom leg and you're going to bring that foot towards the hip. So both of your feet will be next to your hip and your knees will be stacked. Now, if that feels too much, just straighten back through this lower leg and stick with the half variation. We're going to take a twist here. So making sure that you're balanced equally on your sitting bones. Then bringing the right hand behind you. And bring the left arm to the outside of that right thigh. So you can gently press the back of that left forearm into the thigh to deepen the twist. Inhale, finding length in the spine first of all. Exhale, start to deepen the twist, bringing your gaze behind you, using the muscles of the core to help that twist in motion. I'm going to take 5 breaths here. Slowly releasing the twist. Turn them back to center, keeping the legs in this position. Just release the hands either side of your knees. Take an inhale here, finding length in the spine. Then as you exhale, you'll start to fold over the knees. So walking the fingertips forward as you come down. And as you move into the forward fold here, you might feel how this stretch in the outer hips and the glutes intensifies. So finding that nice balance between feeling both effort and ease in the posture. And then settling into stillness. Five more breaths here. Slowly start to come back up, walking the hands in. Then bring your hands behind you, just lean back slightly into your hands to lift the knees. And then you can unravel the legs, and your legs are probably feeling a bit stiff after that position. So you can take some seated windscreen wiper motions here with the knees touching. Then just drop the knees from one side to the other side. Just gonna feel like a really nice release after Gomakasana. Okay, then straighten the legs back out and we'll set up for the other side. So this time you're bending the left knee. Make sure you do the other leg. And you're gonna bring the leg across the knees. Choosing whether you're staying in the half variation with your bottom leg straight or you'll bend the knee for the full variation of Gomakasana with the feet next to the hips, knees in line. And coming into the twist, once you've found a balanced point with the sitting bones, you can reach the left arm behind you, bringing the right arm to the outside of that left knee. Inhale to find length in the spine, sitting tall. Exhale to twist through the spine, using the core muscles. You can gently press the back of the forearm into the thigh, but make sure that you're engaging the core as well. Bringing the gaze behind you, 5 breaths here in the twist. Slowly releasing the twist, turning back to center. So to tilt forward from your hips. On your exhale, walking the fingertips forward for your forward fold here. Keep coming down until you find that sweet spot. Relax the head so there's no tension in the neck. Five more breaths here. Slowly come back up to center. Again, leaning back into the hands, lift the knees, unravel the legs, and taking those windscreen wipers here. then extend the legs in front of you, bringing the legs together into Tadasana. Making sure that your hips are equal, your sitting bones are rooted into the mat. And we'll take one last forward fold, this time with the legs together, letting the hips settle. The fingertips either side of the leg, take an inhale. Exhale, start to tilt from your hips, so the movement is coming from your hips as you walk the fingertips forwards. You can bring your hands to rest on your ankles, your legs, maybe your feet. Inhale, come up halfway, gaze to your toes. Exhale, folding deeper. 5 breaths here. Slowly rolling back up to seated. And then from here, transitioning to the mat. So coming onto your back, keeping your legs together. Just lower yourself all the way down. Releasing. Take a few moments here. Noticing the sensations around your hips. After all the stretches we worked with today in the hips and the hamstrings. And we'll finish the practice with a heart opener and a back bend, taking bridge pose. So bending the knees with the soles of the feet on the mat, knees together. And make sure that your heels are close to your hips, so you should be able to touch the heels. Then release the hands, the palms to the mat. Pressing the feet into the mat, start to lift the hips up towards the sky. Engaging your quads, so you're hugging the thighs in as you're lifting the hips up. You can clasp the hands underneath the lower back and then walk the shoulder blades in towards each other. Keep lifting the hips high. Now imagine that you have a football in between your knees and you're trying to hold that football in place. Keep drawing the thighs in towards each other. Keep rooting the feet into the mat. 3 more breaths here. And release the hands and slowly roll the spine onto the mat. Releasing each vertebra of the spine onto the ground. And then you can bend the knees in towards the chest, wrapping the arms around your shins. And just rock gently side to side here with the knees together, massaging the lower back into the mat. Opening the arms out to the side, palms facing up. And then just dropping your knees to the right side for a reclined twist. You can bring your gaze to your left fingertips, taking 5 breaths here. Keep that left shoulder in contact with the mat. Start to relax all of the muscles here as we prepare for our final resting pose, Shavasana. Bringing the knees back up to center and then dropping them to the other side, turning your gaze to your opposite hand for 5 breaths on this side. Bringing the knees back up to center. And release the legs along the mat, coming into your Shavasana. And let the feet splay out to the sides. You can relax the arms by the sides.
And just relax the shoulders here, let the shoulders sink down into the mat. Feel the weight of the head resting into the ground. And start to scan through your body, starting with the head. Relaxing the temples, the eyes, the eyebrows, the space between the eyebrows. Relaxing the jaw, the neck. Coming down to the shoulders. Letting the shoulders sink down to the mat. Completely relaxed and free of tension. Bringing your awareness down your arms to your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, and to all of your fingers. Relaxing each and every muscle here. And bringing your awareness down your back, your upper back, your mid back, your lower back, all of the muscles along the spine. Coming down to your hips, softening the hips, letting the hips sink, melt down to the ground. Bringing your awareness down the back of your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, and finally to your toes. Relaxing each and every muscle here. Start to wiggle the toes and the fingers. Start to deepen the breath, gently awakening the body. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth.
Rocking the head from side to side. And then maybe taking a full body stretch, stretching the legs away from you, stretching the arms overhead. Bending the knees and hugging the knees into the chest. Rocking gently from side to side. And then rolling onto one side and just take a few moments there in this fetal position, like you've just been reborn. In your own time, making your way to a seated position with the eyes closed, hands resting on the knees. And just observing how you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Noticing any differences you feel now compared to before your practice. And bringing the hands together to heart center, and we'll close the practice by chanting 3 Oms. So releasing your current breath. Taking a deep inhale through the nose to prepare. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And thank you very much for watching, for joining. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channels. We're posting new videos every day. Thank you for joining. See you next time. Namaste.